All right, so you just loaded into Dune Awakening, and you are on this planet that is actively trying to kill you. Your water is dropping, there's sandstorms and sandworms, and you just got caught out by a patrol and you got killed. Honestly, the first couple of hours, my first couple of hours, I should say, looked exactly like that. Not because the game is bad, but genuinely, I was just terrible. And there's a couple of things that nobody really tells you when you start, and it would have saved me a lot of time and a serious amount of frustration and quite a bit of respawning. So that's what this video is going to do. Just a couple of quick Dune Awakening tips and tricks that I wish someone had handed me on a silver platter on day one. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Dune Awakening content, as well as other survival games. All right, so the first tip, number one, right out the gate, and this is honestly one of the more important ones on the list. Your first base is going to be in the wrong spot. Guarantee it, 100%, and that's fine. I placed mine. I spent probably about like 45 minutes in an hour, I should say, building it out and getting the resources, and then I realized that it was going to be basically completely useless. The honest opinion is that you should treat your first base as a learning base, not a permanent home. Dune Awakening actually forces you to relocate and abandon your initial base. So if you spend a lot of time there building and gathering what you need to do, it's just going to be basically all for naught. The tools that you will need to basically save your base and move it to a different place are a little bit later into the game, so don't really get emotionally invested or financially invested on that first spot. And also, before you build a base anywhere, a couple of things that you should think about before you place your first base would be things like, what kind of resources are nearby? Is there a good reason for me to be this close or on this particular rock face? The reason being is that, as I will talk about later, if you place your base near other market hubs, you'll be able to quickly get to other fast travel. I'll cover that here in a minute, but honestly, keep that in mind. Something else that I feel like it's very important to know, but it is not something that I experienced directly, is early on, apparently the game hands you a free Sandbike. And of course, my first reaction would be like, hell yeah, let's go ahead and grab it. I would say hold off, or at least don't do it until you know what you're getting into, because the Sandbike does require fuel and maintenance to keep it running. In the first couple of hours, to get those resources, they're going to be scarce. And what happens is that you take that bike, you feel like you got a victory, and then you spend the first couple of sessions just trying to keep it alive. Because it does take a little bit of progress into the game to get the tools to be able to store your bike automatically. Trust me on this one, just walk the early game, grab the bike when your resource loop is stable or capable, or if you just play the game along its normal paces, you'll be able to build it within the first couple of hours. All right, so my third tip, and it's something that I'm a little bit embarrassed that it took me this long to realize, or internalize, I should say, is that in Dune Awakening, water isn't just like a survival stat, it's kind of like your currency, so to speak. Everything in this game, combat agility, stamina, exploration range, runs basically through that water supply. Think of it as, in other games, what you would consider your hunger gauge, so to speak. My honest opinion is, before you do anything else at the start of a new session, check your water situation. Especially early on, you're going to want to make sure that you're processing the blood from enemies that you get. You're able to grab any kind of water that you can find and store it. Have a little bit with you, because again, running out of stamina mid-fight really will be the life or death of you, honestly. So one thing that I will really stress to you is being protected away from the elements. So the sun in this game is actively trying to kill you. I've talked about it. It's basically the episode or the game level of Mario where the sun is flying around trying to stab you. This game is just like that, as well as the sandstorm. So if you haven't built a shelter into your base, like, the most important thing that I would say for your bases, of course, is always going to be build the roof before anything. Build the roof, supply everything, create your walls, and then protect it. You do that one right there, you're protected from sandstorms, your base is good to go. You have a little place where you can go back and chill. The other part of this is that sandstorms in this game are not just like mild inconveniences. They can kill you, and if you're caught out without cover, it's going to be bad. So always keep in mind of quick areas and change your priorities immediately if there's a sandstorm rolling in, because if you're caught out in one, you can get killed and it's a pain. So it's unnecessary. So as the sandstorm's rolling in, you are immediately looking for some kind of sheltered coverage, and you'll get a pop-up that tells you if you are protected or not. So my next tip is going to be focused on combat, specifically the enemy patrols. And what I did wrong was I would spot a group of patrolling enemies, and I thought I could just handle it. Engage, ran in there, and I would get slapped very quickly because my armor type is not suited for that kind of sustained combat. And the patrols almost kind of feel like they're designed to punish like the solo overconfidence. Like, dude, you ain't Paul Atreides. You ain't going in there, You're not the main character, bro. The tip that I would recommend is watch any group of enemies that you're looking to fight for about like 10, 15 seconds. Figure out how many units there are in the group, you know, like what direction they're moving, where there's cover, and if there's a second group, because that is one of the most pain in the neck situations, is where you're already engaged with some enemies and then you get caught out again. And the combat in this game is really good once you learn how to respect it. It just doesn't necessarily volunteer that information about patrols and how to pick them enemies off one by one. You have to observe it yourself and live it. So my next tip is going to be on fast travel. I was talking about it earlier in the video. Arrakis is enormous. This whole place is huge. And early on, getting between the zones feels like it's going to take forever. And it does. It takes 10, 15 minutes to travel zones, even with a good Sandbike. There are fast travel points across the map, and they're worth going out of your way to unlock. I didn't prioritize this early enough, and I spent a lot of my limited time sessions, we'll say, just traveling instead of just actually playing the game and, you know, unlocking stuff. As soon as you find a fast travel point, which they are located in many of the different major NPC hubs, is that you can unlock it and then you can have an ornithopter fly you directly to and from places. Now, this does take Solari, which you will find just by killing scavengers and other things. You find them around, but it is perfect for that fast travel. And this is also why the positioning of your base matters the most, is because if you have access to fast travel, you have access to a bunch of things that's going to be able to get you to your base a heck of a lot quicker, or get you to where the game is, so to speak, faster. And okay, so this one is 100% about me. This is all I do, and I'm a hoarder in this game and in most survival games. If it drops, I'm picking it up. In Dune Awakening, this is like a horrible habit. Inventory weight is real and punishing. Carrying too much slows your movements, it drains stamina faster, and in a game where you need to be mobile, especially from enemies or a sandstorm or a sandworm, being overloaded is genuinely dangerous. So, rule of thumb, pick up what you have an immediate plan for, and if you don't have a recipe that uses it or a stockpile that needs to be topped off, leave it. The game is generous. There's a lot of different resources all around in the world, so you should be fine, and your movement speed and stamina are far more worth than a full inventory. And of course, that is just one of the things that just takes discipline if you're used to survival games. Like, you know, you just want to gather up everything and carry it with you. In this game, it's of paramount importance. My last tip is going to be focused on how the game kind of directs you, and it's something that I wish I would have known sooner. And it's that the game is great. Dune Awakening is fantastic, but that initial starting zone in Haga Basin South is like constrained. The game is, that's your training zone, so to speak. You're supposed to, it's supposed to feel smaller and a little bit slower than the rest of the world. And honestly, and I'm willing to bet that's actually probably why a bunch of people leave Dune Awakening, because they think that this is the whole game. It's not. Once you push into the other zones in the game, you will find the Dune fantasy come to life. And like, this isn't even talking about like the deep desert and the PvP combat and stuff like that. This is just talking about inside the shield wall on Arrakis, and it is just absolutely incredible. I would say yes, go play for your first couple of hours in that initial zone, but then as soon as you can, as soon as the quest takes you, get out of there, go explore the other areas, and you're going to have a wonderful time. Yeah, so that is your kind of like Dune Awakening, we'll say, starter kit, things that I wish I genuinely knew before I started playing this game. And honestly, the game is fairly, and honestly, the game is a little rough in the first couple of hours, just on the survival aspect. But once it clicks, man, it is locked in and it's a lot of fun. And of course, if this helped, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Dune Awakening content. I have some of that coming. If you want to see the initial new player's guide for the game and how to get started fully, you can click this video here. As always, stay caffeinated, folks.